Hello, welcome into our channel. This is Lunar Goddess Tarot. I'm Sarah and I'll be your intuitive guide today. So on this full moon day here, July 13th, 2022, we have a super full moon in Capricorn. I'm going to encourage you guys to go outside, do some moon bathing, some moon gazing, set your intentions on what you'd like to release, because as the moon reaches its fruition, as it becomes swollen and pregnant with light, and as it increases in size, we know that we have the capacity and the power to let something go. So this is a really powerful omen. It's a powerful evening, or it could be morning, depending on where you are in the world. Could be the 14th. You might experience the moon on the 14th. But I want to encourage you guys to use this to your advantage. And if you'd like some extra insight into this full moon, I'm now offering new and full moon forecasts every month for my VIP patrons. For my VIP patrons, there's 3 different tiers. Actually, I think I have 4 tiers on my Patreon. So you have to choose a VIP to get the moon reports. And it's manifesting moon magic. So I'm going to give you actionable tips on what to do for the new moon, for manifesting, what to do to release on the full moon. So I've created my first one. It's available now on my Patreon. And I also have 2 new posts over there. Those are at the beginner's level, the first tier. I can't remember what it's called, but they're at the first tier. And then I have another one coming tomorrow for my second tier folks, my all access folks. So I've got a lot more content coming to you guys over on Patreon. And I feel very inspired to write and to share at this time. Please note that I, at this current time, am posting written posts only on Patreon, not videos. The videos you get here on YouTube, but writing is my passion. It's one of my gifts. It's how I love to communicate first and foremost. And a lot of my posts are very detailed in content. So you get a lot of bang for your buck, and I put a lot of heart and soul into my posts. I do not share for quantity, I share for quality. So I want to make those things clear to you guys. And also, if you happen to, let's say I post towards the end of the month, if you don't want to be billed twice, this is the way Patreon works. If you don't want to be billed twice, wait until the 1st, because you're billed the 1st of each month. So let's say it's like the 25th and I have a new post. If you're dying to read it, go for it. Just know you're going to get billed again on the 1st. I've come to understand this is how it works. So if you don't want that to happen, just hang out until the 1st and then subscribe on the 1st. So just giving you guys some tips. I'm so grateful for all of your support over there and here. And, you know, things are shifting. You can probably even hear it in my voice. You can hear it in your own voice, and the way in which you're communicating with yourself and with the world, the way in which you're interacting with yourself and with the world. You know, we are at this crux, this very crucial point in our evolution as a species. And there is no going back to the way things were. And so much is being revealed and so much is being brought to light. And we have all of these astrological occurrences that are wrapped up in what's going on. So I want to highlight those. And in particular, you see me highlighting, I talk a lot about eclipses and moons, but I also talk about transit. So if you guys are interested, for instance, in the Saturn retrograde transit, I did a video a few days back on that. And I wanted to let you guys know one last thing, and then we're going to go right into the reading. I have my website back up and running. You can pay on my website, which is very exciting. It makes it a lot easier. You can pay through PayPal, Apple Pay, I think Google Pay, and then credit card or debit card, I believe. So there's lots of options for payment across all countries internationally. And I have coaching sessions, healing sessions open, as well as I believe I now have 4 or 5 different reading options. So I'm very excited to offer those for you. It is limited basis only each month. So once I fill up, I will close them out until I get through that batch of readings, and then I'll reopen them, and you can see that on the website. I think you can see that, I'm not sure. But anyway, if it says not available or if it says sold out, just know that I will be refilling those once I get through the current batch that I'm in. Okay. Hope you guys are doing really well. We're going to start today with the Divine Animals Oracle, and we're going to welcome in all of the light codes that are coming in and pouring in for this full moon, And I want you guys to understand, if you're feeling like your body is swollen, if you're retaining a lot of water right now, if, for instance, I tried to put on a pair of shorts I used to be able to wear. Granted, I mean, I used to be able to wear them, like, this was like 6-7 years ago. So, okay, they're old shorts. It's not like I just purchased them. But they don't fit me. Not only do they not fit me, they would not get over my bum. So, the behind, the ass, the thighs, the hips, the belly, those are all pretty swollen at this time. You might even notice your legs and your arms. We're holding on to a lot of water weight right now, guys. We're in a purification period, but as we're being cleansed, you know, solar plexus is being worked on, and various systems in the body, lymphatic system, various systems are being upgraded and worked on. So just know that it's, you know, things are definitely shifting, and we are definitely responding to the tides of the moon, especially if you are a female. You will likely be experiencing this, but all my guys, all my dudes out there can be experiencing this as well. It's almost like pregnancy symptoms, honestly, again. Okay, what do we have here? We have the Lynx, Secrets, and the Owl, Wisdom. So there's some sort of revelation with this full moon. There's something that is, it's being hidden, but you know, the moon card in the tarot deck historically represents that which is hidden, that which is subconscious, that which isn't necessarily expressed on the surface, but it's like the undercurrent, the underbelly of our psyche, very Neptunian energy associated with the moon. What we see with this Capricorn full moon is the invitation to action. Okay, so like the invitation to unearth these secrets and to put forth this wisdom that has been gained through this process. You know, the new you that you have become, put it into action, take those action steps. Many of you might also be thinking, you know, this is secret, like this journey has been kept secret, and the people in my life, they don't understand, like they don't know that I'm on this twin flame journey or divine, you know, soulmate journey, or just ascension journey, or I'm a light worker, I'm a starseed, and I've identified as such, and I haven't been able to share it. So you just might be feeling the kind of the pangs of having to keep your true self hidden, your identity. And, you know, Owl comes in and says, you know, you have grown into this wise being. You've always been a wise soul, but you have really grown on this journey. And I'm sure you can look back on your journey and realize how far you've come, because that's what we're being asked to really take a look at right now, is how far you've come and how much growth you've gone through. And so, you know, as you grow and as you're stretched out, if you will, and as you surrender more, right? We create expansion. We surrender, we make room, we expand, we grow, we learn, we shed that which, you know, those layers that we are no longer. And we're also releasing karma. So if there's negative karma or a familial generational trauma or karma, that is, you know, being resolved as well. And a lot of that is being worked on in 2022. We are attempting to clear the slate for 2023. It's almost like cleansing the palette for 2023 so that we can have a different experience versus the past several years. I expect to see things change on a global level here, especially with Jupiter and Aries, very interesting pairing. It's one of my private readings that I'm offering. We look into how that's affecting you individually, as well as the Saturn retrograde, as well as the Neptune transit, Neptune retrograde, as well as the full moon, new moon, your North Node report, all of these, the ways in which, you know, the cosmos affects us. It's not that it's a blueprint. Oh, sometimes I feel like it is. I kind of go back and forth. Like, you know, your birth chart is a blueprint, but it's I consider it a blueprint, but it's malleable, because it's sort of like the destiny versus fate argument. You know, is this set out in stone for me, or do I have the opportunity to make different choices? Of course you do. So, but it is sort of a blueprint in my opinion. At least this is what I believe at this time. Thoughts are subject to change on this journey, as we know. We grow, we evolve. One thing you'll notice though, if you've been following me for a long time, I don't really use the label twin flame. I don't really adhere to those labels or those belief systems anymore. what I am growing into is a teacher who looks at this journey as a portal to one's own soul and one's own growth, and wanting to steer you in that direction to grow your soul, not because you want to be with this one person out of 7 billion people in the world, but encourage you to not be afraid to release the label and drop it and let it go and see how that resonates and see how that sits. And it may take several attempts and several times before you're able to really just release it. You might use like my person, or you could just use their name, or you could just say, the DM, like there's ways, or the DF, like there's ways to sort of kind of dissociate from the journey while you walk your path, because you can really get distracted by this energy, and it can really hinder that which you are experiencing. It can really hinder your growth. It can really hinder your joy. So let's take a look at the energies for the divine feminine on that note. Interesting. 2 cats. We've got the lynx and the meerkat. Responsibility. Yeah, Capricorn is a very responsible sign. It's an earth sign along with Taurus and Virgo. Capricorn is the workhorse of the zodiac, and it speaks to responsibility and obligation. And then, of course, we have Saturn retrograde, speaking to us about responsibility and obligation, and where we haven't taken responsibility in our lives, and where we could still take responsibility. It might be money, it might be in the love department, it might be with your job, your career, or it's like, where is the truth? With wisdom here, the owl, this is like, where is your truth? What have you learned about responsibility on this journey? How have you learned to take responsibility for your own emotions? Not say, well, you made me feel this way, in regards, let's say, to your counterpart or to a parent or a friend. You made me feel this way. Nobody has the power to make you feel anyway. You decide how you respond or react. Preferably respond, but in the heat of the moment, we might react. So, divine feminine, you are given this opportunity to assume more responsibility for your life, for your abundance, for your joy, for your peace of mind, your happiness, okay? Divine masculine, chameleon change, that's quite interesting. So here the feminines focus on responsibility, and it's like the masculine is off in another world. They're changing, guys. They're changing their stripes. They're changing color. Chameleon can change its color, shed its skin. So they are in the process of really shedding that which they were, and then becoming who they are meant to be. There's a lot of change. You've been hearing me talk about this for quite a while now, and the change has been accelerating. So, this is all good. It's all good in the long run, but don't concern yourself with what somebody else is doing at this time. Don't concern yourself with waking other people up right now. Don't concern yourself with what the counterpart is doing. It's none of your business. Really, your business, your responsibility is to yourself. So yeah, resiliency. This Capricorn moon is also bringing resiliency here to the feminines. So responsibility, resiliency, the 2 R's. It is reminding you of the power and the strength of your own self, of your own mind, of your own physical vitality and body, of your ability to step into your power. This is a moon that speaks to us about stepping into our power, what that looks like, what that feels like. Is it uncomfortable? Can we accept it? The masculine going through this change is currently feeling some gratitude. There's some emotions that are pouring in for the divine masculine here as they walk through this energy of this full moon. So yeah, I feel like they're feeling some gratitude for their life and for the people that have come in, through their life, in particular parents and grandparents, They might be thinking about the divine feminine because remember, they are in that chaser stage. There's a bit of nostalgia coming through here because you see a young person's hand and an older person's hand. So it's the gratitude, you know, for perhaps they're going back to their childhood, and instead of being angry or resentful, they're forgiving and they're grateful for what they were given, and for the realization that my parents did the best I could and they gave me what they were able to. A lot of masculines grew up in poverty, and you know, that's part of one of their lessons here is to learn that money and power isn't everything, and that, you know, just because you grew up in poverty doesn't mean that. It's sort of like they feel like the way to happiness is through money and through the bank and the money they have in the bank, and that defines them as a person. It defines their worth, and they're realizing now that they could have had, you know, nothing in the bank and you know, soup for dinner or ramen noodles, and they would have been happy because it was all about the love. It was about, you know, what they were given, what especially in regards to the mother, I feel, or grandmother energy in their lives, like what that person was trying to give them, even if they weren't able to give them a lot of things monetarily. So their values are changing. Courage and bravery is required right now, divine feminine. So your courage and bravery. There's a Joan of Arc energy coming through here for me. A Joan of Arc energy of doing what you have to do and not worrying about the consequences. A little risky. Healing energy coming in for the divine feminines, or excuse me, divine masculines. Opportunity and change. Yeah, there's a lot of change. We've got the chameleon card, change, representing the masculine energy, and another card here representing the masculine energy. But this one came through with the healing energy, which tells me that they are being healed, okay? That things are being healed in that department. So yeah, you know, whereas they may have been afraid to make these changes in the past, something is going to help them come along and take their hand and assist them in making the changes necessary to move their life in the direction that they sort of have always dreamed or desired it to go, but it's never worked out because one thing or another has transpired. Right? One thing has come up, another thing has come up. Yeah, look at that elder coming in for the divine masculine. So a lot of energy here of healing generational pain, healing what they thought they were lacking in their childhood, but the realization of everything they had, the realization that life was really full, that they really were content and they really were happy regardless of what it was that because they focused so long on what they didn't have. So a lot of wisdom's coming through for both counterparts, because the feminines here have this wisdom, this owl wisdom energy coming through, which pertains a lot to the way in which she shielded herself, the way in which the feminine has presented herself to the world. Fear of being yourself, fear of really showing your true colors, speaking your truth, owning your power, taking back your power. And the masculine here, dealing with some emotional scars, dealing with, you know, like sort of being humbled for, you know, again, the realization, like, I could have had more gratitude. I could have been nicer to my mom. It was a single mom who was struggling to raise me and my siblings. I could have given more. I could have been less combative. I could have been more supportive. Okay, so some generational lineage being examined there by the masculines, being healed. And for the feminines, very flowing energy here, the flowing river. So there's a grace and ease that wants to come into your life, divine feminine. And when you have the courage and capacity to let go of the shore, you're just, sometimes when you're in the fury of the storm, all you can see is the torrent, you know, the angry ocean, the angry waves. But once things start to calm down, you realize, well, I could just float, right? I could stop struggling and I could float. You know, it's like, sort of like, what do they say when you get carried out by a riptide? you're not supposed to, don't struggle, don't freak out, don't, because you could hyperventilate, and the fear could literally, take you adrift at sea. You have to swim with the current. You have to find a way to sort of make friends with what is trying to take you down. And that's really, I don't know how else better to put this journey into words, but it's like the journey has threatened, it's taken a lot from us, and it's also provided and given, but sometimes it feels like it's taken more than it's given. And I know a lot of feminines are feeling that exasperation. So this is the energy of, as things start to move, don't fight them. Don't try to control the situation, Divine Feminine. Don't try to peer over and see what the counterpart's doing. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Just take responsibility for yourself and manage what's in your control. Imagine that everything is just flowing in your life. Beautiful, beautiful stream just flowing naturally. Imagine what that sounds like, what that feels like. So enter that state of flow. There's an invitation to enter that state of flow at this time. So guys, I'm going to let you marinate with this reading. It's a bit of a different reading. I use cards I haven't used in quite some time, which was fun. And I hope this has given you some perspective for this full moon. I hope that this has given you some ideas how to approach this full moon. And if you'd like more, check out my Patreon. It's a way to support my work, and it also is a way for you to dive deeper. I'm sharing a lot of my story this week. In fact, in the post that I shared yesterday for all tiers, all levels, I share an article that I wrote years ago, about 6 years ago, in my experience with narcissistic abuse. And it was an article that got published in Elephant Journal, so I shared that. And then I'm sharing some actionable self-care tips and sharing other articles that I've written, other work that I hope helps somebody out there if you've gone through that, because I realize so many people on this journey have gone through narcissistic abuse. So I feel like it's one of my best pieces I've ever written. I take great pride in my work and great pride in the vulnerability in which I was able to write that and submit that. It was really a part of my healing process at the time, because I submitted it like 6 months after everything happened. So I hope it helps you, and I am really looking forward to working with some of you. So check out the website. Go under offerings or readings. The offerings are for coaching sessions and healing sessions, and then the readings are for the readings that I mentioned. So take good care, guys. Happy full moon, happy super full moon in the sign of Capricorn. Make sure that you're honoring the intensity, taking time to rest, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.